Okay, we're going to have part 2 video of dimensioning, and now we're going to talk about some basic rules. You have this handout, glue this in and make notes as we go over it. Here are a few rules that you need to know. Dimensions use special lines, arrows, symbols, and text. Look back at when we talked about the line weights. Remember that your object lines are the darkest, hidden lines are thin lines, and then these lines up here with our dimensions are thin lines. Notice that they're thinner than the object lines. Dimensions make use of dimension lines. Here's the dimension lines, these. Extension lines that extend off. And leader lines. We'll see the leader line on the next one. They are thin and continuous. Notice that there's a gap here. And notice that the arrowheads are on each end just like this. Notice that this is parallel to the surface. Our lines are always going to be either horizontal or vertical. You have this handout, glue this in as well. Leader lines, this is a leader line here, may be ended in 3 different ways. We can have it going with an arrowhead like this to show the radius is 2 of this corner. It could come up and have a dot on it, or it could come up and be blank here. I thought you might not know what a medium knurl meant. This is just what that means here. That's what this surface is showing right there. The leader lines are always at some kind of angle. They're not parallel to the dimensions, and they don't cross other leader lines. They're not super long. We wouldn't put it way over here, going that far over, and we wouldn't have this cross an extension or a dimension line. Nothing ever crosses. So here's some basic spacing and readability rules, and you have these to glue in. The spacing between dimension lines should be uniform. Do not dimension inside a figure, always outside. And dimensions should be horizontal. And the text should not cross other dimensions. We're going to look at what these look like. So here's our first example. And we're going to identify all the mistakes here. The first one is right here. Can you tell what's wrong with this? Dimensions should be uniformly spaced. Notice that these are not uniformly spaced. Okay, what's our next one? What's wrong with this part? The same problem with this. They're inside. Don't dimension things inside an object. Alright, I'm going to help you remember this one. There should be a gap between extension lines. Like right here, this line is touching.
Whoa, no touchy. No touchy. No touch. Whoa, no touchy. No touchy. No touch. Whoa, no touchy. No touchy. No touch. Whoa, no touchy. No touchy. No touch.
All of these should not touch. I hope every time you make one where it touches the edge, you think of the emperor saying, no touchy. Don't let them touch like this. They should all look like this where there's a gap. What's wrong with this part? That's right, text should not ever cross over something else. Look at how hard that is to read. It should never cross another line. Can you tell how big this hole needs to be? It tells us where the center of the hole should be, but we don't know how big it is. The diameter is missing there. So basically, this is the one that we had wrong, and then this is the one we corrected. Notice that we've changed each one of those items. We fixed all the touching problems. We fixed this so it's nice and evenly spaced. We moved these dimensions to the outside of our figure. We put the diameter on this one. We fixed all those problems. So please put both of these in your notes and label them as the wrong one and the corrected one. Okay, now we're going to look at how to decide when we have duplicate dimensions. Remember I showed you on the previous video how to find how many dimensions you need in a certain direction, and now we're going to talk about looking for duplicates. This happens when you just get too many. If you remember, if I wanted how many on the depth here I should have 1, 2, 3, subtract, I should have 2. But look, there's 1, 2, 3. So right here I have too many, so I need to delete one of them. I'm going to get rid of this one. Right here, how many should we have? Well, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we should have 3 in here. Look at how many there are. Way too many. We should take some of these out so that we just get some down here. Now, I might argue over this slide that I found that these dimensions I would probably put on the top, because right here we're crossing over, and if I put all these dimensions on the top, I wouldn't have to cross over. I could even just put the 60 up here, and then I wouldn't have to cross over right there. And I wouldn't have to cross over right here. Here, how many should we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. We should have 3 in here, so we definitely have duplicates. We're going to get rid of some of those. And we leave it all nice and dimensioned now. Basically, the only thing that I would still say that's wrong with this slide, is that this picture up here has no dimensions on it. If this top view has no dimensions, then we wouldn't need it. This is why I said earlier that probably I'd just move all of these up to my top view here, and then that view would have dimensions, and that would be a good view. If you turned it in like this, you're going to get points off because there's no dimensions on this one.